Welcome back, writers. We are still talking about Jane Yolen's book, Owl Moon. You listened to that story last week and then had a conversation with your teachers about what made it great writing. The two ideas we heard most was one, Jane Yolen wrote about one small moment, the night that her husband and daughter went looking for a great horned owl. And two, many of you liked Jane's word choice. Today, I'm going to teach you three strategies that Jane used to make her word choice interesting. The first strategy is called comparisons. When you compare in writing, you're telling how something was like something else. For example, the first sentence you see says, "The trees stood still as giant statues." In that sentence, Jane is comparing the trees to giant statues, quiet and still. You also see that word as. As is a big word for comparison. If you want to write a comparison sentence in your small moment writing, then you may want to think about using the word as. One of my favorites that she wrote is this third sentence. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back. The little girl said that after she and her father had been walking a long time, and Jane wanted to paint a picture in your mind of how cold the little girl was. So she said the cold was like an icy hand. I think the comparison that most second graders like is the last one. Jane wrote, "The snow was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl." She used that comparison word than and compared the snow to milk. So that's one strategy that you can use. You can use the word like, or use the word as, or use the word than, and you can make a comparison like Jane did. Another strategy that Jane used was she used repetition. We heard that last week when we read our poem in our green reader. Writers use repetition to get ideas across. So let's take a look at how Jane did that. Let me get to the right slide. One place she did it was throughout the story, she would say, "If you go owling, you have to be quiet. If you go owling, you have to be brave. If you go owling, you have to do what your father says. If you go owling, you can't make any noise." She repeated that throughout the journey to show you that she was excited to be with her dad and that the little girl was trying to follow all the rules. Another place where Jane used repetition was with the owl sound. Throughout the story, we heard hoo hoo, hoo hoo. Father made the sound, and then later in the story, the owl made the sound. So, using repetition is another strategy that great writers use. One more strategy I want to talk to you about is alliteration. Say that word with me, alliteration. Boys and girls, that's just a fancy word that means you start words with the same sound. For example, if you look at our first sentence, it says, "Somewhere a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song." Do you see some words that start the same? Of course you do. Long and low. And then at the end, she writes sad, sad song. Those words all start with an S. So alliteration is repeating a sound. The second sentence says, "Our feet crunched over the crisp snow." She repeated that sound, crunched, that blend, with crisp. You do the last one. It says, "My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm." You tell me right now, what words start the same? You're right. Felt furry and wet and warm. If you're looking to improve your writing, second graders, there are 3 ways you can do it. Use alliteration, make some of your words in the sentence start with the same sound. Use repetition, repeat lines or repeat phrases or repeat ideas. And then the last one, make a comparison. Tell how something is like something else. Those 3 strategies that Jane used can also work for you. We're going to continue our personal narrative writing, and your teachers are excited to see what you're going to do.